Welcome back, everyone. My name is Joe, and over the last year, I have documented my journey of writing a first novel. In fact, a trilogy of novels called Rivendoa. I live with my husband Richard and our granddaughter Hannah on 6 acres of land nestled in the wilds of Virginia. Every Monday, I post a video sharing the joys and challenges of writing a first novel. In this week's video, I'll be grilling a steak over an open fire and taking a big bite out of reality. So, come along and join me in my adventures in living as a writer and an artist. Hey everyone, welcome back to my author's channel here on YouTube. Today I'll be out here in the woods at the clearing where I plan to make a big fire and put some water on the boil with my kettle, and then I'm going to grill up a steak and potatoes today. So I'm looking forward to that. And then while I'm getting the fire going and prepping the steak and getting it cooked, throughout the day I also want to discuss with you guys the elements of reality in writing and how important it is to bring that element of reality into your writing so that your readers will believe in the world that you are creating. And I think this is especially important with works of fantasy and horror, because in order for the story to work, the reader has to have a suspension of belief in what's about to happen. So you need to bring as much reality into the characters and the story as you can before you reach that moment where something happens that is probably not possible in the real world. So anyway, before I get any further into discussing how reality works into writing today, I want to go ahead and get my fire started and get my water on the boil. Okay, now that I've got the fire going, let's talk a little bit about today's writing topic. Reality bites, which is sort of the quick, funny name I've given to it. And I'm not talking about the 90s generational film, and I'm not really talking about it in terms of a negative statement about reality, reality bites. Instead, I kind of want to take an alternate usage of the phrase. In this context, I'm giving the term reality bites an alternate meaning with the idea of injecting little bites of reality into your writing, so you can help your reader believe in your story and your characters. At least, that's my goal in trying to inject those little bits of reality for myself and taking pieces and parts of my life and injecting that into the story, because I think when a reader comes across a piece of your writing that is from your own reality, your own experience, I think it rings true. And I think this really helps, as I said before, it really helps with tales of fantasy and horror, where suspension of belief is key in drawing in your audience. Before I continue, I would like to share a quote by Edgar Allan Poe that I feel like sums up this kind of idea perfectly. Here's the quote: "Words have no power to impress the mind without the exquisite horror of their reality." And think about that. Words have no power to impress the mind without the exquisite horror of their reality. In other words, I feel like Poe is saying that the power of writing comes from our shared knowledge and experience about the terrible truths of this world. So it's important to bring your experience of the world directly into your writing, because I feel like it brings the reader along with you, because even though you're expressing your personal truth, you're really expressing something that's universal to everyone. I know that sounds kind of strange because you think, well, this happened to me and nobody else, but really those experiences almost always are relatable to some level with other people. The idea that truth is beauty, I'm sure you know that was something that was talked about in writing, and when I was in school, the idea of truth and beauty, truth being beauty because of that universal experience. Truth is beauty when we express truth, and it's universal and understood by all. When you write the truth, people will believe you. My fire's starting to burn down a little bit, so I'm gonna see if I can get my hot water on the boil to get that tea going. Today I'm planning to make some pine needle tea from a red pine here that I found here in the woods. I gathered some needles on my way down to the clearing, and once I get my kettle boiling, I'm going to go ahead and drop them in my kuksa with some hot water, and then let that steep for a while. We also have an eastern white pine, which is called Pinus strobus, which can be easily identified by its cluster of 5 needles. The red pine has 3 needles, and the white pine has 5 individual strands or needles in a group, in a cluster. Pine needles are full of antioxidants when placed in a tea and steeped. And this supposedly helps, as I was reading about this, it supposedly helps with chronic disease, inflammation, and reducing stress, which all of us can use in the current state of affairs right now. Pine needle tea is also loaded with vitamin C, which is, everyone knows is good for you. And if you want to know more about identifying the different plants, and which ones are good for tea and which ones to stay away from, there is a channel right up here which you can take a peek at that will give you some more information on foraging pine needles for tea. Okay, so from a practical standpoint, how do you bring reality into your writing? Especially, like as I said before, when you're dealing with a fantasy and horror tale where you're going to be writing about things, monsters, evil creatures, ghosts, whatever supernatural or monstrous creature you're creating that inhabits your story. How do you bring reality to that situation? And I think for me, the way it works is you bring that reality in through the characters and the story before those events occur. When I say writing from reality, what does that mean exactly? And for me, like for instance, if a character is going through something, I try to think about events that have happened in my life that are similar or elicited similar feelings or physical sensations in my body. For instance, if you're writing a scene where a character has a close call, you might, for me, you might, in terms of how one of the experiences I might pull from is a time that I was driving on the highway and a Mack truck pulled out in front of me, nearly missing my car. And, how did I feel at that moment? What were the physical sensations I was feeling? I know I felt anger, I felt fear, of course. My heart quickened, my pulse was racing, I slammed on the brakes, adrenaline shot through my body, and for a moment I felt like I couldn't breathe. So what I can do is when I'm writing moments of shock or a moment where something, perhaps as fantastical as occurring, with a monster, or a death scene, you can pull on those things that you've experienced, even though they may not apply directly. Those experiences are universal: shock and fear and awe at seeing something unbelievable or unexpected. And you just pull on those emotions and physical sensations, how the world looked to you at that moment, and just sort of throw those elements in. And I feel like that really helps bring that reality home to your writing. At least that's what I'm hoping for, and I'm hoping when people read the first book in my Rivendell trilogy, Wings of Shadow, they're going to pull, I'm going to be pulling from things that I experienced, that when they're reading it, they'll be able to go, oh, okay, yeah, I felt that way before. I understand that feeling, that sensation, that physical expression. And I feel like, for me, if I take all of that, all those little elements, and put them into my scenes, people reading my story will believe it because it rings true. Even when you're writing about, even when what you're writing about is completely fictional, when you tap into something real like that, you tap into those universal experiences that I've mentioned before, that your reader can really relate to, and that will hook them into your story, so that when you really get to the crazy, fantastical, horror or fantasy elements, they'll be in it for their believability will be in it at that point, and they'll go along for the ride. They'll suspend their belief as you unravel and unfold your tale. At least that's what I'm hoping for. If I could achieve that, I will be more than pleased with what I've accomplished. If I can do that, if I can get people to go, wow, yeah, I believe in that. I believe that might have happened, or could have happened, or might be happening. That's my goal in writing. I'm having a hard time speaking because I'm getting all this smoke over here. My water is actually ready for boiling. My water is ready for pouring into the tea, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that off now. Ooh. Nice hot water here. I pour it right here in the tea and make that in the pine needles and make that tea. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's going to be nice. I'm going to put this back on the fire for more later. Well, the tea is a little bit pokey. You know, I can taste that it's a very mild flavor of sort of a slightly pepperminty or spearminty. I'll show you a close-up of it here. So that tastes good. Very, very mild taste, but doesn't need any sweetener or anything. Sort of reminds me of peppermint tea. Good. I have a mix here of sliced potatoes, yellow peppers, and red onions. And I just already put the oil in. Okay, now I think it's time to get that steak on. I went ahead and raised up the steak a little bit on these two additional pieces of wood because it was getting a little bit burnt there. I haven't really worked out how to cook a steak on this yet, but I'm getting there. This is looking very yummy. Oh, that's going to be nice. Better do a little stirring here. The lighting is a little strange here. I have to cut some of these branches that came down in the storm. They're like right in the way of my sunlight, which kind of gives it a weird feeling. But I guess what I wanted to say is, you know, we can't always write from direct experience, but you can find a way to discover or find something personal from your life that is relatable, that you can put into your story. It's usually in the form of a feeling, a physical sensation, or a moment in time from your life that you can place into the story that brings that element of reality that the reader can connect with. But let's go ahead and get that. Let's go ahead and get the food off the grill, and I'll go ahead and talk a little further after I get some food in me. And I don't want to overcook that steak or those potatoes. So let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll do a little eating. think that's done. Looking good. All right, I think it's time to eat. I'm gonna start with testing these out. They came out delicious. I am gonna go ahead and take a little bite of this. Looks very hot. That is very, very tasty. Little burn here and there, but you know, when you have something like this over a fire, it is so good. Ooh. Hot. I think what I'm going to do is pull those off of that hot plate, put them on where my steak is on a piece of wood, and then we'll let that cool down a little bit and go ahead and eat. As I said earlier, you know, we can't always write directly from experiences in our own life and make it relate directly to our writing. However, for me, I feel like if I have injected enough of those little bites of reality throughout the writing of the story, I believe that the reader will be able to suspend belief when I need them to. Yeah, and that's the key. You know, you're sort of building something. You're building up a series of scenes, introducing your characters and the world in which they live, and injecting those little bits of reality so that by the time you get to those fantastical or horrific events, the reader will have had enough faith in the believability of your story and characters to make that stretch of imagination necessary for them to believe what you're writing or what I am writing at that time. You know, like when that crazy wild thing happens that you've been dying to write about, that's completely a wild fantasy element. They'll be there, right there with you, because they believe in your story and they believe in your characters. All right, I've laid out my steak and my potato on my slab of wood. It's cooled down a little bit, and it is time to sit down and eat. All right, looks like we have quite the meal here. Steak, T-bone steak, and potatoes, red onions, and yellow peppers. Nice combination, very nicely spiced. So anyway, I want to give you all like a little look at that. And I am going to go ahead and pull this a little closer. And as I always do, I like to sample it while you all are watching. Very nice. Let me go ahead and take a bite of this. These potatoes are really good though. Okay, let's see how this thing came out. I'm just gonna go ahead and go caveman style here. Oh wow. That is perfectly cooked. I don't know if you can see that. I like mine rare. This is a little bit medium rare, but probably good out here at the fire. It's hard to gauge the temperature. But I am absolutely loving this. Let me try a bite of this side. Talk about bringing reality into your writing. I would love to write about eating food that I've cooked myself over an open fire and the physical sensations that it brings. Oh, it just, it hits all the taste buds. Salt, kind of a little bit sugary with the peppers in here. It's a slight sweet taste. And then all the spices I put on it, absolutely delicious. So one more bite, and then I'm gonna turn off the camera and really get busy here. I want to get a taste of this and this together. Oh, wish you all could be out here with me. Absolutely delicious. One of the best things I've cooked out here. Of course, steak is easy on a grill, but this is absolutely wonderful, and I really wish you all could partake of it right now. For those of you who are vegetarians, the potatoes are absolutely cooked to perfection, and I think you would absolutely love them. Delish. I'm gonna go ahead and put that down just a second and take a shot of this tea. Absolutely good, absolutely delicious. All right, well, enough eating. We'll get back to, I'm gonna tamp the fire down a little bit so I'm not getting so much smoke, kind of get the flames back going, and then we'll finish up what we have to say today about reality bites. You know, I guess in closing, in my video-themed reality bites, I just want to say that the story of Rivendoa sprang from real events that occurred in my life, and for me, it's a way to express through fiction, my thoughts and feelings about those events, as well as just tell a good story, because I also want to just tell a good story. In fact, that really is the main point for the reader. The reader wants a story. The reader wants to be entertained. They want to, be sitting there on the edge of their seat, and I want them to be there. I think we've, the reader and the writer sort of make a bargain together. The reader wants to give them something. The writer wants to give them something that he has or she has within themselves to the reader, and the reader wants it to work. The reader wants to enjoy it. They want to find a good book. So or read a good story, a good yarn, as they say. So I feel like I'm hoping that with Rivendell I can do that, and I can deliver a really fun story while at the same time expressing some things that are inherently important to me through that fictional story. I just hope that I can succeed at both. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for today. I've still got my steak to eat and some potatoes left over, and I am going to sit here and enjoy it by the fire on this beautiful sunny day. It's still chilly out here, but the fire makes it nice and toasty warm, and having a full belly always helps. But anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up for today. As always, if you like the content of this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It helps the YouTube algorithms and helps my site get to more people like-minded, just like you, who would be interested in the kind of content that I have. So anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. I'm going caveman. So good.